What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another viewer suggested video. In this one, we are checking out a mid to end game Slayer guide. Nieve and Steve and Duradel are your best options for Slayer experience and consistent money. Generally, Nieve and Steve are more regarded for faster XP tasks, mostly cannonable tasks. Duradel is more regarded for the big money tasks. This is generally based on task weight. If you don't know what task weight is, it's basically your odds of getting a task or the percentage chance. All the assignments on a Slayer Master's list have a specific weight, which ends up being your odds of getting that task. So in this guide, we're not going to talk about Konar. Konar is basically good for two things: Hydra tasks and the point bonus on every 10th task completed. Other than that, we don't like Konar. You personally might like Konar, but she is an inferior Slayer Master when compared to Nieve, Steve, and Duradel. So what are we going to go over in this guide? Well, obviously, I cannot pass up a good Slayer video, and I've done videos on all of these things before, but never all in the same video. Plus, it's been a while, so I think it's a good time for a refresh. This week's video is a request in my viewer-suggested video series. Today's request comes from Jordan Habib. The most efficient Slayer setup. What tasks to block, what tasks to skip, how to do the tasks, melee neck rails versus bursting, Expeditious bracelet, etc. So I actually want to take this a little farther than the request. What I'm going to do is go over in this guide setups for magic, melee, and ranged. We're going to go through the most efficient block lists for Nieve, Steve, and Duradel, and we're also going to do this for best experience per hour as well as best profit per hour. Additionally, I will also take us through the tasks for both masters that you should absolutely do or you should skip. So we'll have our dedicated block list for experience along with tasks that should be done and skipped for both Slayer Masters, as well as the same for the most money. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is gear setups. Now, I'm not going to do this in the traditional way that I usually do by just posting setups on the screen for you to take a look at. What I want to actually do with this is post it more in a way of a progression. So we're going to see what you can start with and work your way all the way up to. First up is our melee gear progression. So this is pretty simplistic. This is what's going to get you through Slayer in the most efficient way in regards to DPS, accuracy, all of that good stuff. Now, there are many niche items for Slayer that you can use, like the Dragon Hunter Lance, or the Justiciar armor set, or the Amulet of Blood Fury. But in this guide, we're just going to check out your typical gear progression for Slayer to make your tasks go a lot smoother. All of that stuff is another time for another video. Otherwise, this one will end up being like an hour or 2 hours long. We don't want that. So in your helmet slot, Black Mask is where you start out at. Following that is going to be the Slayer helmet, which combines all of the headgear for Slayer into one helmet. Never have to worry about forgetting anything. As for your plate body, Rune Plate obviously is where you're going to start at the mid game before you start working your way up into the better items. Torag's plate body follows that for good defense bonuses. After that is the fighter torso. If you don't have a fighter torso, you should probably go get one. It's very good for mid to late game Slayer. Once you get into the end game Slayer, you're looking at the Bandos chestplate into the Torva plate body. Like I said, this is gear progression, so later on it does get pretty expensive. As for the plate legs, Rune plate legs into the Torag's plate legs, but these are really subbed in for any Barrows armor, so whatever you can afford or whatever you need at the time. After that is going to be the Bandos tassets into the Torva plate legs. As for your offhand, defenders are going to be your best friend for Slayer. Rune Defender into the Dragon Defender into the Avernic Defender. Again, there are some other things that could go into the shield slot, like the Dragon Fire Shield or some other sort of shield that's more niche. Again, another time, another video. In the glove slot, before you get to Recipe for Disaster, you can use a combat bracelet for the DPS increase. Following that, once you start the Recipe for Disaster quest, you can get up to the Rune Gloves into Dragon Gloves, and obviously Barrows Gloves require that 175 quest points to get. After that is going to be the Ferocious Gloves. Ferocious Gloves do require you to have Dragon Slayer 2 completed. In the boot slot, Rune Boots into Dragon Boots. After that is Guardian Boots. Now, Guardian Boots do have one less strength bonus than Dragon Boots, but that's not really going to make much of a difference. The Guardian Boots are very nice for the defense bonus over the Dragon Boots. And then finally is going to be the Primordial Boots, best in slot there for the strength bonus, the defense, all that good stuff. Over to the weapons. Now, this was a little difficult, so I kind of went through and I was thinking, what do I use the most for my Slayer gear? And this is exactly how it went for me. Started out with the Abyssal Whip. Obviously before that, dragon weapons. Dragon Scimitar is nice, but in terms of this guide, Abyssal Whip is where you're going to want to start. You might be asking about the Abyssal Tentacle. Well, that does use charges, so you don't really want to use that on Slayer tasks. You can use it on boss tasks, that is an option, but for this, just stick with the normal Abyssal Whip for your tasks. Following that is going to be the Zamorakian and Hasta. The Zamorakian and Hasta is really nice because it does provide good stab and crush bonus, so depending on the task, it can be used anywhere, but having both the Abyssal Whip and the Zamorakian and Hasta would not be a bad idea. Following that is going to be the best in slot options, which is the Grazi Rapier and the Blade of Saldor. This is what I use the most on my Slayer task. Grazi Rapier is best in slot for stab, and the Blade of Saldor is best slot for slash bonus as a one-handed weapon. In the cape slot, any skill cape will work if you do not have a fire cape, but if you don't have a fire cape and you're getting into mid to late game Slayer, I suggest you go get one. It's very beneficial. Fire cape follows the skill cape, followed by obviously the infernal cape, best in slot there. As for the amulet, Amulet of Glory is where you're going to want to start out. Following that is going to be the Amulet of Fury, increases your strength bonus as well as defense. Now the Amulet of Torture is best in slot. You will lose those defense bonuses, but the DPS increase from this amulet is absolutely incredible. So work your way up to that when you can. As for the rings, Berserker's Ring, the normal one, by the way, which is why you see two different Berserker rings there. Berserker's Ring is pretty cheap now. It's like 1.7 million GP, and it only gives +4 strength bonus. Following this is the Brimstone Ring. This gives +4 to all the stats, like slash, crush, strength, all that good stuff. But it does cost more than the Berserker's Ring. After that is going to be the Berserker's Ring Imbued. Definitely want to have that imbued if you have one. They are +8 to strength, so definitely good DPS increase. In the blessing slot, if you're meleeing, or the ammunition slot, whatever you want to call it, any blessing will work while you're working your way up to the Rada's Blessing 4, which you get after completing the Karen and Kebos Elite Diaries, and that does give +2 prayer bonus instead of +1 like all the other normal blessings. Next up is our ranged setup for Most Practical Slayer. For this, the Slayer Helmet Imbued is obviously what you gotta have. You have to have the Slayer Helmet Imbued to get that +15% damage to accuracy and damage for ranging with Slayer, so make sure you get that imbued. As for the chest plate, Black D'hide body into a God D'hide body. I just have the Guthix ones in here because it doesn't matter which one, they all do the same thing, all have the same bonuses. This one's a step up from Black D'hide because it does give prayer bonus. After that is going to be the Armadillo chest plate, followed by the Missouri chest plate. And the Missouri chest plate goes over the Armadillo chest plate, even though its defense bonuses are worse because it does give a range strength bonus. Following that, your best in slot is going to be the Fortified Missouri plate body, which then increases the defense over the Armadillo chest plate while retaining that +4, I think it is, to range damage. So yeah, you want to have the Missouri as your best in slot. As for the chaps, Black D'hide chaps into God D'hide chaps, followed by Armadillo, followed by Missouri, followed by the Fortified Missouri. In the shield slot, you might be wondering, where are the D'hide shields? Well, the Book of Law is actually better than all of them. So any color D'hide shield, as well as the God D'hide shields, the Armadillo Book of Law is better as it does give +10 to ranged attack bonus. Following that is going to be the Dragonfire Ward. Good defense bonuses as well as good range bonus, but it is only second best to the Twisted Buckler. So the Twisted Buckler is going to be your best shield option for ranging. As for the glove slot, Black Vambraces into the God D'hide Vambraces, followed by Barrow's Gloves. Your best slot is going to be the Zerite Vambraces. Boots, snakeskin boots to start. Ranger boots would actually be in between snakeskin boots and the God D'hide boots, but the only reason you should be wearing ranger boots while you're ranging is probably if you're an Iron Man, you happen to get them off of a clue scroll. If you're not an Iron Man, then forego the Ranger's boots until you get to your best in slot Pegasian boots. As for the weapon, Basic Slayer. Now this is pretty much the path that I followed when I did my 99 Slayer Pure, the Initiate Pure. The Magic Shortbow Imbued is on here because it actually is really good DPS with Amethyst arrows. And the Amethyst arrows are pretty cheap, so this is actually a really good option. Following that is going to be the Dragon Crossbow. Don't even worry about a Rune Crossbow, it's useless. Armadillo Crossbow after that, Zerite Crossbow, and then the Toxic Blowpipe. Yes, the Toxic Blowpipe still is the best for your normal Slayer tasks, just getting XP and stuff like that. Apparently the nerf just didn't work. Good job, Jagex. Still the best. In the cape slot is going to be the Ava's, what's that thing called? Attractor, I think it is. The first one, but don't even worry about that. I don't even know why I put that in there. If you don't have the accumulator, well, go get it. The accumulator is second. and you'll be using that until you can finish Dragon Slayer 2 and get yourself into Ava's Assembler. That thing is super nice. As for the Amulet of Glory, Into a Fury, best in slot is going to be the Necklace of Anguish. In the ring slot, just an Archer's Ring imbued. If you don't have your ring imbued, go get it imbued, you pleb. It is best in slot ring for ranging, and it is now cheaper than the Brimstone ring after the release of Tombs of Masket, and literally everything in the market crashed. So get yourself an Archer's Ring. It's not that expensive. Ammunition slot, Amethyst arrows for your magic short bow imbued. Runite bolts for all of the crossbows if you're using those. If you didn't know that, Runite bolts are cheaper than Amethyst broad bolts with the same range strength, plus 115. So save yourself some money, get some Runite bolts. As for the blowpipe, typical Slayer test, you're going to want to use Amethyst darts, good XP, good price point, not too expensive. If you really can't afford the Amethyst darts, I guess you can use Rune. So make your decision wisely. Last, we're going to check out our magic setup, and I want you guys to say this with me. Damage is the only thing that matters. Say it again. Damage is the only thing that matters. When you're doing Slayer with magic, the tasks that you're going to be bursting or barraging, these monsters have 0 magic defense. They all have magic levels of 1, and these are like Dust Devils, Smoke Devils, Neck Rails. It doesn't matter what your accuracy bonus is because you're going to hit just as good as you would normally with higher magic attack bonus as with no magic attack bonus. So we want to maximize our damage. In the helmet slot, once again, imbued Slayer helmet. You got to have this for that 15% increased accuracy, which doesn't matter, but the 15% damage does. In the chest plate, in the leg slot, prayer bonus is going to matter until you can get to the ancestral. So you're going to have the initiate plate body and plate legs, followed by proselyte plate body and plate legs. And once you get there, ancestral robe top and robe bottom, those will give you magic damage increase. As for the shield, Book of Darkness, this is for the prayer bonus. It has really good prayer bonus, and you want to maximize that. Again, Elysian Spirit Shield is basically the next best thing for the prayer bonus, and especially for greater neck rails when they spawn those little death spawn thingies. They do damage through protection prayers, so the Ellie is really nice to have, but if you don't have that, just use a Book of Darkness. There literally is no in between. And for the gloves, Holy Wraps is prayer bonus for the gloves, followed by the Tormented Bracelet, and this will give you another magic DPS increase. Boots, Holy Sandals into the Devout Boots. Those are your 2 best options for increasing prayer. There's currently nothing in the game that gives magic damage for a boot slot, so prayer it is. As for the weapon, this is a little weird. Ancient Staff is going to be your go-to if you don't have any of the other stuff, just so you can auto-cast the ancient magic spells. Followed by that is going to be the Nightmare Staff. Now I put this before the Kodai because you still will need to use water runes with the Nightmare Staff, but it still does give 15% increased damage and can auto-cast ancient magics. Followed by that is going to be the Kodai, which also gives you a 15% damage increase, and that does provide you with unlimited water runes. After that is going to be the Eldritch Nightmare Staff, and the only reason I put this in here is because the special attack for this staff does restore prayer, so that's actually pretty nice to have. You don't have to use as many prayer potions. Followed by that is going to be the new Timikin's Shadow. This thing is freaking nuts. Now, although it cannot auto-cast ancient magic spells, I did put it in here just for the sole reason of its passive effect, which pretty much 3-fold increases from the player's worn equipment. I've seen screenshots of people having almost a 500 magic accuracy bonus, as well as like 70% magic damage. It's freaking nuts. Now you will have to click every single barrage or burst spell that you do with this, but good lord, this thing is absolutely broken. Damage is crazy, and I mean, if you want to do the click intensive way, you can use that. Obviously, if you can't afford it, I think the price point of it right now is like 2.2 billion. I just wanted to throw it in there just for, you know, a little fun fact. Next up is going to be the capes. The God Cloaks are going to be your first option, followed by a Trimmed Skill Cape or the Artie Cloak 2. Artie Cloak 3 is next, then Artie Cloak 4, which gives you 6 prayer bonus. The Soul Cape follows that at best in slot for prayer bonus in a cape, which is plus 8. You have to get that from Soul Wars, but your best option here is going to be the Imbued God Capes, which does give you, again, a magic damage increase. Amulet slot is just the Occult Necklace. They're only 400k now. Just go get one. It gives you 10% magic damage increase. Next is going to be our rings. First up is going to be the Explorer's Ring 1, 2, or 3. Either of those all give +1 to prayer. Next is the Ring of Suffering for +2. An imbued Ring of Suffering gives +4, which is the same as the non-imbued Ring of the Gods. Following that is going to be the Ring of the Gods imbued, which gives you +8. And last, I put the Explorer's Ring 4 here, although it only does give +1 prayer bonus. You do get 30 free high alchemies a day, so while you're on Ancient Magics picking up your drops and alcheming them, getting a little bit money back, that takes the cake for me. Last in the ammunition slot is going to be any blessing that you can use, followed by the Rada's Blessing 4 if you have the Karen Kebos Elite Diaries completed. Alright, so that is it for our gear progressions for Slayer. Next I want to talk about the Expeditious and Slaughter bracelets before we get into our block lists and our do's and skips. So the Expeditious bracelet has a 25% chance for a monster kill to count as 2 kills towards your current Slayer task. The Bracelet of Slaughter has a 25% chance for a monster kill to not count toward the Slayer task. So these are very beneficial, especially the Expeditious bracelet if there's really a task out there that you really don't want to do, but you got to do it for the experience. So you can get 2 of them out of the way, pretty much 1 in 4 kills. As for the Slaughter bracelet, this is something you want to use on like bursting or barraging tasks to extend those tasks. You get more Slayer experience as well as more drops, all that good stuff. And as for our task list that we're going to check out, if you see one of these icons next to the task, this is where you're going to want to use it, and that's where you're not going to want to use it depending on what you see. All right, so now it is time to get into our task lists and what we're going to do with them. We're going to block them, skip them, or we're going to do them. We're going to start out with Nieve and Steve. Nieve and Steve require a combat level of 85 to be assigned tasks, so keep that in mind when you're doing Slayer. Block list for Nieve and Steve. So these are the 6 that you're going to want to block, assuming you have all 6 open spots. If you don't have all 6 open block list spots, then you'll want to do obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and leave the last ones for whenever you do unlock those spots. So Abyssal Demons, pretty slow task, not a lot of XP there. Drakes, they really suck. Worms also suck. They can be fast if you are higher level, have really good range gear. You can speed through them, but I still say block them. Black Dragons, very slow task, regardless of whether you're doing Brutal Blacks, regular Black Dragons, King Black Dragon, doesn't matter, very slow. Cave Kraken, not good for XP, and Spiritual Creatures, also not good for XP. So these are your top 6 tasks based on task weight that you want to block if you want the most XP. As for our skip list for Nieve and Steve, you're going to want to skip these tasks because they are very slow XP. They probably could make you some money, but that's not what we're here for right now. Fossil Island Wyverns, assuming you do have those unlocked through the quest that you need to do. Iron Dragons, very slow. Skeletal Wyverns, also pretty slow task. Steel Dragons, Blue Dragons, Minions of Scabrous, Mutated Zygamites, can be fast. I just personally hate them, so I put them on here just to skip them because I don't mind spending the 30 points to not have to do those. As for the asterisks down at the bottom, these are unlocks that you can get through Slayer, so if you do have these unlocked, you will also want to skip these for XP. Boss tasks, Aviantes, Basilisk, Vampires, Mythral Dragons, and Red Dragons. As for our do list for experience, lots of stuff here that we can do and that we're going to have a lot of XP coming in. Now you'll see the little bracelet icons next to these. Now personally, I don't use the bracelets. I don't really care to use them. It's really only efficient if you put them on at the end of the kill and then take them back off for the rest of the kill. That's a lot of clicking that I'm not really interested in. The only reason that I would actually leave these on is on my barrage tasks, which you can see there are Dust Devils, Neckrails, and Smoke Devils. As for the rest, Aberrant Specters, Adamant Dragons, you should do these because it's a short task if you don't have them extended. Anku, Black Demons, Bloodvelds, Brine Rats, Cave Horrors, Dagonoths, Dark Beasts, also another short task. These are only assigned in like 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 or something if you don't have them extended. Dust Devils, barrage these in the Catacombs of Karen or burst, whatever you have available. Elves, Fire Giants, Gargoyles, Greater Demons, Hellhounds, Calfight, Kurosк, Lizardmen, Neckrails, barrage these in the Catacombs of Karen or burst. Rune Dragons, also a short task if you don't have them extended, so just do these for the points. Smoke Devils, Smoke Devils, barrage those. Sukas, Trolls, Turoths, and Czar. You want to do a Jad task for this because after you get Jad down pretty good, you can finish a Jad task in 30 to 35 minutes, and it's a lot of Slayer XP for the time that you spend. So make sure you do those Jad tasks for the XP. Next, we move into our block, skip, and do list for most income for Nieve and Steve. So for your block list, you're going to want to block Bloodvelds. Not very much money there. Fire Giants, not a lot of money. Suka, useless. Drakes, Worms, and Aberrant Specters. These are your top weighted tasks that you're going to want to block so you don't have to deal with them while you're trying to make all that money. Skip list for GP for Nieve and Steve. Calfights, if you're not doing the Calfight Queen. Hellhounds, if you're not doing Cerberus. Dust Devils, not a lot of income there. Spiritual Creatures, Trolls, Anku, Iron Dragons, Mithril Dragons, Red Dragons if you don't have a T-Bow, Steel Dragons, Blue Dragons if you don't have a T-Bow, Elves, Minions of Scabrous, Brine Rats, Turos, and once again, Mutated Zygamites, Fast Task. I just hate it, so it's on my list. As for our list of tasks you want to do to make the most GP, I have put the bracelets on here as well, only at the spots that it's more convenient, where you're not going to run out of inventory space or need that inventory space for something else. Abyssal Demons, you'll want to do the Abyssal Sire. Really not that bad of money, considering it's a crappy boss, but it's annoying to do, but you can still make some money there. Adamant Dragons, very short task. Wear that bracelet to make it even shorter. Aviancies, you want to do these at Kriara. Learn how to do that boss. Super good money. Basilisks, you'll want to do the Knights, so you can try for that Basilisk Jaw. It is 1 in 1,000 on a Slayer task, 1 in 5,000 off. Black Demons, do Demonic Gorillas if you can in their place. Black Dragons, you can sub these out for Brutal Black Dragons or the King Black Dragon. Blue Dragons with a Twisted Bow. Y'all definitely always want to do all your boss tasks. Cave Horrors, Cave Kraken, do this at the boss. It's pretty much free money. Dagonoth Kings, Dark Beasts, this is a short task. We take that bracelet to make it even shorter. Fossil Island Wyverns, Gargoyles, you can do these or the boss variant of this. Both of them are pretty similar in income per hour, which is kind of crappy for a boss. Greater Demons, do this at the God Wars dungeon. Krill Susaroth. Hellhounds, kill Cerberus if you can. If you can't, obviously skip it. Calfight Queen. Lizardmen, gotta take a shot for the Dragon Warhammer. Neckrails, do these ones in the Slayer Tower. Don't do the ones in the Catacombs of Karen because they're very strong, but the ones in the Slayer Tower are pretty weak, and they actually do drop a good amount of alchable items as well as other stackable stuff. Red Dragons with a Twisted Bow, Rune Dragons, Skeletal Wyverns, Smoke Devils, you want to do the boss here. Player on House Method is really nice, and you can turn a lot of profit with it. Vampires, if you have this unlocked, do the Firewatch Sentinels. Alright, on to our boy Duradel. So starting out with our block list for experience, we want to block Abyssal Demons, Cave Kraken, Drakes, Worms, Skeletal Wyverns, Spiritual Creatures. Again, block them in that order because they are weighted from highest task weight down to lowest based on our blocks. Tasks we want to skip for Duradel to get the most XP, not really that many here. Boss tasks if you have them unlocked, Lizardmen if you have them unlocked, Black Dragons, Aviancies if you have those unlocked, Red Dragons, Vampires, Basilisks, all if you have those unlocked, Steel Dragons, Fossil Island Wyverns, Iron Dragons, Blue Dragons, Mutated Zygamites, once again I hate them, and Water Fiends. And for our do list for the most experience, Aberrant Specters, Adamant Dragons, short task, just do it, get the points. Anku, Black Demons, Bloodvelds, Cave Horrors, Dagonoths, Dark Beasts, short task, use that bracelet to get it done faster. Dust Devils, barrage these in the Catacombs of Karen. Elves, Fire Giants, Gargoyles, Greater Demons, Hellhounds, Calfights, Kurosks, Mithril Dragons, short, make sure to use that bracelet for a short task. Neckrails, barrage these. Rune Dragons, short task. Smoke Devils, barrage these. Sukas, Trolls, and Czar. Finishing this section of the video off is going to be our blocks, do's, and skips for Duradel for the most gold income. This is exactly what I do. Duradel is my chosen Slayer Master. I always use Duradel, so I'm showing you exactly what my block list looks like and what I skip and what I do. Block list, Bloodvelds, Drakes, Sukas, Worms, Aberrant Specters, and Fire Giants. Don't want to do any of those if you're trying to make the most money at Duradel. Tasks to skip for the most money. Spiritual Creatures, Steel Dragons, Trolls, Anku, Dust Devils, Iron Dragons, Blue Dragons if you don't have a T-Bow, Cave Horrors, Elves, Mutated Zygamites, and Water Fiends. Tasks that you're going to want to do to make bank through Duradel. Abyssal Demons, do these at the Abyssal Sire. Adamant Dragons, just knock these out because it's a short task. Aviancies, Kriara, definitely want to do that there. Huge moneymaker. Basilisks, do these at the Basilisk Knights. Again, the Jaw is 1 in 1,000 on a Slayer task. Black Demons, do these at Demonic Gorillas if you can. Black Dragons, you can do at the Brutal Black Dragons or King Black Dragon. Blue Dragons, if you have a T-Bow, not too bad at the Brutal Blue Dragons. Boss tasks. Cave Kraken, do the boss. Dagonoth Kings, Dark Beast, short task, just knock it out and get the points. Fossil Island Wyverns, Gargoyles or the boss variant. Greater Demons, Krill Susaroth, Hellhounds, do this at Cerberus if you can. If you can't, just skip it. Calfight Queen, Kurosks, Lizardmen, Mithril Dragons, short task if you don't have it extended. Neckrails, again, do these in the Slayer Tower. Not too bad of money, good XP. Red Dragons if you have a Twisted Bow. Rune Dragons, Skeletal Wyverns, Smoke Devils, do this at the boss. And Firewatch Sentinels. So that's it for our do's, skips, and blocks for Nieve, Steve, and Duradel. Now, even though we're working with either Nieve, Steve, or Duradel, I still want to suggest that you do every 10th task at Konar for the points boost, especially if you have 95 Slayer. You never know when you'll get lucky with a Hydra task. You don't have to do this, but it's a good idea, especially if you do have those Karen Kebos Elite Diaries done. You'll be getting 90 points for every 10th task instead of 75, or the 100 points every 10th task with those Elite Diaries done, plus the additional bonuses for every 50th, 100th, 250th. Definitely worth the time. All right, the last thing I want to go over for this guide is going to be Slayer unlocks and extensions. Now, I'm not going to list all of them. I'm going to list the ones that I personally think are the most important and that I think will help you the most. After you get all of these unlocked, you can go back through the Slayer rewards and unlock things at your discretion depending on what you want to do and how comfortable you are. Now, first up is Bigger and Badder. When you're starting your Slayer journey, you're going to get assigned Slayer creatures. Bigger and Badder will give you the option to unlock Superiors. Superiors have a chance to spawn after you kill a normal Slayer monster, and they drop the Imbued Heart and the Eternal Gem. Now, these are very important to have early because even the lower level Slayer monsters, they're pretty on par with whatever you're killing at the time. So go ahead and get this unlocked so you can have that chance for the Eternal Gem and the Imbued Heart. Next up is Malevolent Masquerade, and this is the Slayer Helm. So you want to rush Bigger and Badder and then Malevolent Masquerade. These are the two most important things in the Slayer skill that are going to help you get ahead. Malevolent Masquerade will allow you to craft the Slayer helmet with the crafting level required, so go ahead and get those done. The next ones are more just quality of life, I guess you could say, or nice to have. Not really in any particular order, just whatever you feel comfortable doing. Gargoyle Smasher, after you unlock Gargoyles at level 75 Slayer, this will auto smash the Gargoyles. Ring Bling will allow you to craft Slayer Rings, super convenient for getting around to the Slayer locations. Broader Fletching allows you to fletch broad arrows and bolts. Not super important for main accounts, but if you are an Iron Man, probably want to have this one done early. Watch the Birdie. Aviantes and Kriara, super great money-making tasks. So for the Slayers out there that are trying to make the most money, get these unlocked and go learn yourself some Kriara. Hot Stuff, these are the Czar and Jad tasks. Now, you don't have to complete Jad to be assigned him for a Slayer task. So if you're going for your first Fire Cape, you definitely want to have this open so you can get it on a task, have an easier time doing it. Like a Boss, do this when you're comfortable. This will assign you all boss tasks that you have available to you, like General Grardor, Commander Ziliana. So only when you're comfortable, unlock this. Last is Task Storage. This is a nice one. You can store a task for later on for 50 points. So if you get something and you're like, oh, I don't have the time to do that right now, but I want to do it, well, you can store it and then get yourself another Slayer task after that. Last is going to be our Slayer extensions. Now, I didn't go through all of these as well, just the ones that I thought were most important based on experience or gold per hour, whatever you want to look at. The rest of them you can do at your discretion based on what you're feeling or what you're interested in. Thank you very much. This one for XP. Suka, another one. These are Sukas for XP. Fire and Darkness for Black Dragons. Definitely want to do this one for GP, whether you're doing Brutal Blacks or the King Black Dragon. Rune, this one's a no-brainer. Rune Dragons, if you're looking for the most gold per hour, definitely extend this one as soon as you can. Birds of a Feather, Aviantes Kriara for GP. Greater Challenge, this one could be for GP or XP. This is Greater Demons, so you can do more Greater Demons on a cannon task, or you can do more Krill Susaroth in the God Wars dungeon. It's dark in here, it's going to be Black Demons. This one I listed for GP because most people extend this to do Demonic Gorillas. They also do sub in as Black Demons. Bleed Me Dry, Bloodvelds for the experience. Smell You Later is Aberrant Specters for XP. To Dust You Shall Return. Dust Devils, definitely want more of those so you can barrage more of them. Wyvern, another one. Skeletal Wyverns for GP. Get Smashed is for Gargoyles. This one for GP. Next, Please. This one can be for GP or XP, depending on which necrolls you want to do. Do you want to burst barrage them in the catacombs, or do you just want to camp, get melee experience, get some of those stackable and alchable drops? Augment My Abbeys, Abyssal Demons. I would only extend this one if you're looking to do a lot of Abyssal Sire. Do this one for gold per hour. Crack On is going to be the Kraken boss for GP. Wyvern Other 2, this is Fossil Island Wyverns. You're going to want to do Ancient Wyverns if you're looking for the money for that GP. Basilonger, Basilisk Knights, this one again for money. More at Stake, Firewatch Sentinels, also for money. All right, with that, I think it is going to wrap this one up. Now, this wasn't a super advanced Slayer guide, but it's more along the lines of just what you need to know to get started and progress through the Slayer skill. Slayer bosses are a different world, different guides, different items, stuff that you need for that, niche things here and there. So if you're looking for a guide for the Slayer bosses, I have linked all of my guides to each Slayer boss in the description below. As for this video, it was fun to do an update video on all the stuff that I had separate videos on, roll it all into one, and answer Jordan Habib's questions. So Jordan, I hope that this video has answered all of your questions and you now know what direction to move in. As always, guys, thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up down below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn the bell icon on so you get notifications. That way you'll know whenever I upload a new video, put a poll on my community tab, or ask what the next video should be about. As always, guys, again, thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one. Take it easy.